This video is sponsored by CuriosityStream, which now comes with Nebula for free when you sign up using the link in the description. In the outskirts of Newark, New Jersey, tucked between a packaging manufacturer and an aquatic center, lies a farm. Except, if you're driving down the nearby highway, you probably wouldn't be able to tell that this particular farm is churning out thousands of pounds of greens every year. In fact, all you'll see is a bunch of buildings, because this is a vertical farming operation called aerofarms, which grows all their food in a warehouse. Like the owners of aerofarms, tech enthusiasts across the world have embraced the dream of vertical farming, exclaiming that their operations are the answer to feeding a growing global population, combating climate change, and eradicating food deserts. So today we're going to look under the hood of these vertical farms in order to answer 3 questions. Do they work? Are they sustainable? And are they a viable alternative to growing food outdoors? The many-shelved farming operation that is AeroFarms is just one of many companies that uses vertical space to grow vegetables. What sets AeroFarm apart, however, is that it grows its produce in a fine mist filled with nutrients, instead of a typical growing environment like rock wool and nutrient-rich water. But AeroFarms is an outlier in the vertical farming space. The typical vertical farm looks a lot more like that at Bowery, a company that uses a more traditional hydroponic system to grow their produce. Essentially, Bowery grows greens and other veggies in a nutrient-rich tray of water, which is consistently recycled in a closed-loop system. This system is then replicated en masse and expanded not horizontally, but vertically to maximize space. But because all the plants are stacked on top of each other, access to light becomes a big obstacle, which means that each shelf is equipped with LED lights to act as artificial sunlight. Some operations like Plenty go even further by shining only the beneficial colors in the light spectrum for growth. While some of these large-scale vertical farms can quickly become laden with advanced technologies like robotic arms and AI monitoring systems, at their most basic, vertical farms use a combination of artificial sunlight and vertical space to maximize the amount of yield per acre. These food factories do seem promising, but they also seem like a lot of work. So why are people so excited about them? The typical American farm is 444 acres, and if you're a lettuce farmer, on average you can pull around 36,200 pounds per acre from your field every single year. Vertical farming, however, boasts much higher yields per square foot, with some companies like San Francisco-based Plenty claiming they can produce 400 times the yield of a conventional farm. This is where the benefits of a vertical farm begin, but it's certainly not where they end. Vertical farming proponents point to disease and pest prevention, water saving, season extension, and exacting control as some of the many benefits of growing vertically. In a sealed indoor environment, disease and pests are rare, meaning that pesticide and herbicide use is at a minimum. Hydro or aquaponic systems, which are common in vertical farming, recycle water in a closed-loop system and conserve up to 95% of the water used. While artificial lighting means that plants can grow regardless of the season and location. You could theoretically grow plants right next to a supermarket. And this farming method can do all that without depleting the soil. All of this sounds amazing. Who wouldn't want a pesticide-free operation that uses less water, less land, and is closer to urban centers? Well, unfortunately, there is a cost. The vertical farming space seems to be inundated with Silicon Valley tech investors dead set on finding a solution for growing food that will catapult us into an era of sustainably grown produce. Their warehouses are full of AI-driven robots, software that monitors plant growth, and spaceship-like white columns that all seem right out of a sci-fi movie. All of these futuristic devices couldn't possibly have a downside, right? Wrong. The technology-ridden vertical farm comes at a high cost, both in terms of money and the environment. In order to start up just one of these food factories, costs could be as high as $39 million, which is prohibitively expensive even for an already costly industry, which might require as much as $5 million just to start a grain farming operation in Iowa. Even vertical farming and shipping containers, which have a small startup cost compared to big warehouse farms like AeroFarms or Plenty, is expensive. Sometimes this is to the tune of 10 times the cost to grow produce than a regular dirt farm. In part, this has to do with the expense of retrofitting a shipping container, but it can also be tied back to the energy required for lights, heating, ventilation, and cooling. According to research conducted by Civil Eats, a 30,000 square foot New York City vertical farm might pay $216,000 annually just for lighting and power, and another $120,000 for air conditioning systems. These costs can differ drastically depending on the location of the operation, but on the whole, the costs of most vertical farms lead to higher prices on the consumer side. Agriculture consultant Peter Taskell estimates that lettuce grown from vertical farms costs roughly 5 times more per pound than when it's conventionally grown. Alongside their high monetary cost, these systems also generate a larger carbon footprint than field-farmed produce. A number of papers have studied the life cycle impact of a kilogram of lettuce in a vertical farm, and depending on the context, they found that vertical farms can emit anywhere from 0.156 to 4 kilograms of carbon dioxide equivalent for every kilogram of lettuce grown. While one Washington Post reporter writes that in places with heavy fossil fuel use, vertical farms could generate as much as 7 to 20 times more greenhouse gases than outdoor farms. Yes, vertical farms do cut down on the need for transportation, but Paul West, lead scientist at the Global Landscapes Initiative at the University of Minnesota, asserts that 80% of a farm's carbon emissions are created on the farm, so food miles are negligible. I also think that a key thing to keep in mind here is that vertical farms can really only grow a small range of veggies, like lettuce greens and kale, efficiently and profitably. And when grown outdoors, these crops already tend to have a low emissions footprint. Essentially, vertical farming is tinkering at the edges when it comes to agriculture's carbon footprint. If we truly want to drastically reduce agricultural emissions, we should instead use our resources to address the biggest emitter in the industry: meat. Food production facilities like AeroFarms easily cling to the imaginative areas of our brains. They're big, futuristic, shiny, new, and exciting. But vertical farms are not a sustainable silver bullet solution to solving world hunger. While there certainly is use for them in some contexts, like in the cold seasons or in water-deprived areas like California or cities like Abu Dhabi, they provide a different service than small and large traditional farms. And in terms of feeding the world, our problem is not a lack of food. It's a lack of appropriate infrastructure to distribute the food we have to those in need. For instance, globally, we waste 1/3 of the food we produce. So investing hundreds of millions of dollars into vertical farms feels similar to trying to colonize Mars to escape a changing climate. It's a prohibitively expensive and technology-ridden solution to a problem that has other, more just and less expensive answers. There are many appropriate technologies and methods on conventional farms that have been proven to increase yields on extremely small plots, all without AI, white columns, or smart cameras. And if we genuinely want to address climate change through agriculture, our first step should not be to fiddle with greens. It should be to address the huge impact beef has on our land, water, and greenhouse gases. Techno-fixes like vertical farming are alluring, and when used in appropriate contexts, beneficial. But looking ahead towards 2030 and onwards towards 2050, we'll need a hell of a lot more than technology to fix the societal problem that is climate change. After being on YouTube for over 4 years, I still find it really hard to create climate-oriented videos that perform well. The truth is that the algorithm tends to not like politically charged videos like the ones I made about the Green New Deal and ecofeminism, and they end up doing poorly or even getting demonetized. Which is why a bunch of creator friends and I teamed up to create a platform where we can make content without having to worry about pleasing the YouTube algorithm. It's called Nebula, and we're thrilled to be partnering with CuriosityStream. Nebula is an ad-free video streaming platform that allows creators to create without worrying about views or sponsorships. With exclusive content from a wide range of educational YouTubers like Polymatter, Tom Scott, and T1J, Nebula is the perfect place to consume ad-free educational content. I've actually been recently watching Evan from Polymatter's Nebula original series called A Hill to Die On, and like his videos on YouTube, the series effortlessly blends education with entertainment. It's well worth a watch. But what does this have to do with CuriosityStream? Well, as the go-to streaming platform for thousands of top-tier documentaries, CuriosityStream loves supporting educational creators. So we worked out a deal where if you sign up with the link below, not only do you get access to CuriosityStream, but you also get Nebula for free. And this isn't a trial. You'll have Nebula as long as you're a CuriosityStream member. And for a limited time, CuriosityStream is offering 41% off their annual plan. That's less than $12 a year for both CuriosityStream and Nebula. And if you like this video, then definitely check out the episode of Cities of Tomorrow on CuriosityStream all about vertical farms. It goes way more in depth about their possibilities and downfalls. So if you want to support both Our Changing Climate and hundreds of other educational content creators, go to curiositystream.com/OCC or click the link in the description and sign up for CuriosityStream and Nebula for just $12 per year. Again, that's 41% off. Hey everyone, Charlie here. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. If you've already signed up for CuriosityStream, here are 2 quick things you can do if you want to support this channel. Share the video on Reddit, Facebook, or Twitter, and consider supporting me financially on Patreon. Even $1 a month helps this channel thrive. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.